Hi, my name is Andro Koen. I've built and scaled my own marketing agency to $30,000 a month, helped a bunch of other people as well, and now I create free content to help even more people, right? So in this video, I'm going to share how you are literally 30 days away from making $10,000 a month, right? So yeah, it was about 2 years ago when I started my own, social media marketing agency or SMA journey. As you can see, I was just doing cold calls like daily, 4 to 5 hours a day. I literally called every single gym in the UK twice. All right. So I went through Google Maps. I searched, gyms in UK or whatever, and I went through the entire Google Maps list. When it says like 52 pages, I did that twice. All right. And I didn't get much results, although I got a lot of experience doing the cold calling, just facing all that rejection. And, in August of last year, I made my first $10,000 a month. So literally not even a year ago. So it can happen real quick. All right. So, yep. What we're going to cover in today's video is the law of cause and effect. Very, very foundational, important video. You might think you understand it, but I'm going to absolutely blow your mind. That's what I can guarantee. Why it's just simple maths at the end of the day, and why it's so hard to, at the start. You're probably facing this right now. You are like, you're putting in all this work, you're putting in all this effort, consuming all this content, just brainwashing yourself to become the type of person who can do this, but still you're just not getting any results for it. So I'm going to explain why that is the case, why you're not confident in your services or just pitching your product, or maybe on the sales calls or anything like that. And the only two things that can happen. So when you start your own SMA, there are only two things that can happen. So that's what we're going to cover in today's video. Really excited. So let's get into it. So the law of cause and effect. There exists a fundamental law in the universe that states for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. You've probably heard this a bunch of times, but there's a reason so many people say this, right? So they constantly say this. So meaning if you take the right action every single day, success will become inevitable, right? Exactly. Like if you just take the right action, for every cause there's an equal and opposite reaction, which is in this case, success and making money. So why are so few people actually succeeding? They're working on the wrong stuff. That's like fundamentally what they're doing. Everyone is working. Everyone is doing something. Like no one just sits around all day like Eckhart Tolle and just meditates the entire like you are constantly doing stuff, but you're not getting the results you want. It's because you're doing the wrong stuff. That's all it comes down to. So people love to preach, the grind and work hard, but it's useless if you're working on the wrong stuff. If hard work was the answer, factory workers would become the richest people in the world. Or children working in China's factories, they would be the richest people on earth. But that's not the case, all right? And I'm not here to, go into that argument, but you need to understand how the world works, all right? So then there's smart work. That's where that comes in. Once you get clear on what you need to work on, that's the hardest step, right? Then you work as hard as possible at it. So a lot of people also preach smart work, which is, I would say, more important than hard work. Okay, well, it's definitely more important than hard work, but you need a mix of both, all right? So give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. So Abraham Lincoln, incredibly smart quote if you really think about it. It's the first 4 hours, right? So essentially 80% of the time he's using to identify the problem, right? That's essentially what he's saying. So when you want to solve a problem, 80% of your time needs to be focused on, actually identifying the problem. And then 20% is actually fixing the problem. So when most people don't know what to do, or they're just working on the wrong stuff, you need to spend most of your time just searching for what to work on. And then, once that's solved, it becomes pretty easy, because most people, as I mentioned, are working on the wrong stuff, doing the wrong things. So spend 80% of your time focusing on what to work on, right? And then you work hard, right? The last 20%. That's why it's the 80-20 principle. 80% is smart work. I would say 20% is hard work, all right? So, but at the start, there's definitely a balance of, when you know what you need to do, you need to work extremely hard, all right? Yeah, that's essentially what I'm going to cover in the next few slides. This is it's a pretty simple graph, but this will absolutely blow your mind. So this, as you can see, memory is right here at the start, and this is time, and then obviously money here at the end, right? So time here on the, let's see if I can remember from maths, I'm pretty sure it's the X access, and this is the Y. I might be completely wrong, but like that doesn't even matter. Like I'm never gonna use that again. But anyway, so memory and then money. So over time, right? Obviously your memory fades, as you can see right here. Like right now, you probably know what you had for lunch. Hopefully, I had some steak, so like I can definitely remember that, and some eggs as well. So, but like 10 years from now, when you ask me what did I eat on the 9th of August for lunch, like I would probably not remember that, right? Because like over time your memory fades. Like when you were a kid, you probably can't remember like what you had for lunch 10 years ago on a Tuesday evening, right? But over time, your money grows, all right? So this is the paradox. This is the thing people forget. It's like when you are starting out, right? Your memory is very sharp. Like you know exactly what you did today, you know exactly what you did yesterday, and maybe a week ago, a month ago. Like you know what actions you took, right? But that's not producing any money. As you can see right here, money at the start. This is obviously time. So let's just say a week. This is like a week. You're not gonna make a lot of money, especially at the start in the first week. You're not gonna make a lot of money, but you know exactly what you are doing, right? And over time, you start to make this money. This is how it works. It's extremely weird. This is exactly how it works. Like over time, you just start to, you know what you did, right? But not exactly, because over time, your memory fades, all right? So then you think, okay, it's like the actions I took today is what resulted in the money I made today. But you have to realize it's the actions you took at the start that led to the money that you have now. Because over time, your memory fades, so you forget people forget what they did at the start that actually brought them results, let's say 1 or 2 years later. They forget because obviously over time your memory fades. So they think, oh, it's like the trip I booked last week, and let's say you made like an extra $10,000 this week. It's like, oh wow, I booked a trip last week and I made $10,000 the next week. I'm just gonna buy more trips, and maybe the next week you still make another $10,000 that week. And he's like, okay, well, like I'm just gonna do more trips, and then in like 1 or 2 years you make no money, and you're like, oh, I bought all these trips. Like, well, what's going on? But like you forgot that the things you did at the beginning, studying smart people, learning, buying courses, investing in your service and product and improving it, and looking at market feedback and getting client feedback and improving your service and learning and just improving your business and yourself in general. Like that's what actually brought you the success. But because you can't remember it and you're like doing all this flashy stuff, you think that's bringing in the money. But give it 2 years and you're in for a surprise. So don't forget the actions that you took, that brought you the money. Because at the start you don't know the actions. You might be taking the right actions right now, but you don't see any money. But just give it some time, money will start to come in. But just don't forget the actions you took that actually led to that money, right? Really important, because the law of cause and effect states that for every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So the stuff you're doing right now will produce results. It just takes some time. But you need to remember the actions you took. Otherwise, as I said, you're in for a nasty surprise. All right? So it's just simple maths at the end of the day. Like when you're below $10,000 a month, I'm not saying this, egotistical or whatever you want to call it. You tend to make very emotional decisions. Like I'm saying this because I was obviously through that. It's totally fine. Like that's 100% normal. But like you are very emotional because it's very ego driven. It's like me. I just want money. Just give me money. Like you don't even care about actually providing a good service for your clients, because you're like, nah, I want money. Like just give me some money right now. And the more you learn and the more you just do business, I'm not saying I'm an expert at all, just over the few years that I've done this, the more you realize it's just pure numbers. It's literally just, it's raw math. That's all it is. When you look at it like this, you're like, oh, that looks pretty simple, right? It is pretty simple. You're right, but it's not easy. So let's look at this. So your goal is $10,000 a month, all right? So let's reverse engineer this. So a lot of people say, a lot of smart guys like, Robert Greene, just Robert Greene I can remember right now, but like he says you need to think with the end in mind. It was probably not even Robert Greene, but someone said you need to think with the end in mind. All right, I think it was Napoleon Hill that also said you want to think from the goal, not of the goal. and that's something I can do an entire video on that. So if you want something on that, just leave a comment down below. But essentially, you want to reverse engineer this. You want to think from the goal and not of the goal. Let's say average client is $2,500. I wouldn't suggest less. And that will all come down to the next slide, which I'm going to share why I wouldn't really suggest less. And you can tell a lot about a person from what they charge their first client. I'll get into that now. So that's 4 clients, right? So $2,500 times 4, that's obviously $10,000. All right. If your close rate is 10%, it's probably going to be a bit less, like when you're starting out. And this is all to say that you have the right guidance. You probably bought some mentorship, or you bought some, I don't know, like a program or something. Talking about program, like I created a absolute free course, which you can go through, like it's a link below. It's not a course, like a community or program that we're building out. It's absolutely free. You can check it out down below. It's the exact framework you can, implement that I use to scale to $23,000 a month, or $22,600, whatever you want to call it, in 7 weeks. So you can just access that down below if you want. But anyway, so 10% close rate, and that is with the right guidance. You'll close any, 1 out of every 10 calls. That's 10%, obviously. So in order to get 4 clients, you need to conduct 40 calls. All right? Because obviously 10% of 40 is 4 clients. And 4 clients that each pays $2,500 is $10,000 a month, right? So to get 40 calls, you need to book 57 sales calls. Because, industry average, only 70% of people will show up. 70% of 57 is 40 calls. 40 calls times 10%, which is your close rate. 4 clients times 2,500 is 10K. To book 57 sales calls, you need to send 3,800 emails, and that's with a 1.5% appointment booking rate. So for every 100 emails you send, you book around 1.5 meetings. All right, so that's essentially what appointment booking rate means. So your entire goal is to send 3,000 emails, 3,800. Let's say 3,800 divided by 30. That's 127 emails every single day for 30 days. And you can get to $10,000 a month with these metrics. So it's like 127 emails a day. That should be your new goal. Like, that's your goal. It's not to make $10,000 a month. Your goal should be to send 127 emails a day. And within 30 days, like, you can get to this realistically. But like, obviously with the right frameworks, with the right guidance, you like, that will just make it much easier. All right. Sorry about that. So, you see, to get to that stage, so many things need to be aligned. Like, that's why it's so hard at the beginning, which I'm going to go over in the next slide. The right paradigm, belief systems, strategies, all that. Like, you just need to, there's so many things that need to be aligned. Like I mentioned, paradigms, belief systems. You need to think it's possible, like all this kind of stuff. But anyway, so why you are not confident? You might be on sales calls. You might be, just pitching your service, and you don't sound as confident. You're like, oh, I don't know if I really can do this. I don't know if I can actually deliver on the service. Like, I think I'm maybe charging a bit too much. You're not very confident in pitching that price. I know exactly how I feel because I've been exactly there. So there are 3 areas where you can get confidence. Like, this is all where you can get confidence, and this is actually very cool. So the first one is your offer. So like, when you just have an absolutely no-brainer offer, which I have the book right there, just a no-brainer offer like that just screams confidence. It's like, I will help you get, 20 clients, and if you don't get that, I will refund you, and, pay you an extra $1,000. Like, that's a pretty, hefty offer. But like, the thing with offer is, like, anyone can say that, but not everyone can back it up. Everyone can say, like, I will get you 1,000 clients, and if you don't get it, I will pay you $10,000. Like, everyone can say that. So offer is a pretty difficult one. Next up is you, like, just you, like your raw confidence. Just your confidence on the emails, when you talk to people, when you cold call people, when you do your sales calls. It's just your confidence in your abilities to pull it off. Because when you are below $10,000 a month, or you're not making as much money as you want to be making, you haven't got any clients. And the third part is testimonials, like, your clients, like your social proof, like that also brings a lot of confidence. Like we've worked with pretty big people in the space. Like I just have that confidence now, and I just have a lot of confidence in general, and I have a pretty amazing offer. So, if everything like that is aligned, like it becomes pretty easy. Like my calendar is absolutely fully booked. All right. So, all you really have when you're starting out, offer is a pretty difficult one, is you and your offer. But like, let's just take offer out of this equation for now. So it's all about you. And it's not about your current self. It's about your future self that will be able to pull this off. So you need to have so much faith in your future self that when you actually, when you sign this client, you will deliver on the service. So it's pretty difficult to explain, but you just have to have like delusional self-confidence that you will make this happen. That's why it's so difficult at the start, right? I think I forgot to put in the slides for for this one. I will show you right now. Why it's so hard at the start. Like I completely forgot the slide, but essentially all I wanted to showcase is, it's like a analogy I want to share with you. So when you're starting out, like just picture you've got like this big, like a Rubik's Cube, not like an actual Rubik's Cube, but like the shape, the cube that you need to push, but it's like extremely heavy, and it's like obviously it's a square, but in 3D, you push it, and it's extremely difficult just to get it on the other side, and you have to use all this effort and energy. It's like, oh my gosh, just to get it like an inch further and another inch. Like that's you at the start. It's just like putting in all this effort, putting in all this work, but like you're just getting nothing really out of it. Like maybe you get a few bookings here, another booking there, but like you're just pushing this thing, and it feels like you're just putting in all this effort, not getting anything in return. But if you remember this, if you just keep going, which is the next slide, which it actually perfectly falls into, the only two things that can happen. But anyway, so over time, once momentum starts to build up, this cube starts to turn into a sphere. It's like the edges start to, rounding up a bit. It's like it becomes a bit easier. And then when you're like, 1 to 2 years in, it's like just a sphere that you can push. It's like just a little bit of effort, and it just goes. It's like a circle just going there. That's essentially how it is when you're starting your own social media marketing agency, right? When you're starting out, it's so much effort, you get nothing in return. But over time, once you can outsource a few things, or like everything just starts to flow. You got the momentum coming. Like your offer is great. Your offer is dialed in. You have so much more confidence because you've served so many good people. You got great results. That builds up your confidence even more, which allows you to create an even better offer. Like it just compounds, right? And then that's the exact thing with a sphere. It's just you push it a little bit and it just goes. So that's essentially why it's so hard at the start, because you don't have any momentum, all right? And just build that through time. So there are only two things that can happen, right? As you can see, I didn't really like college. But yeah, there's only two things. You win and live the life of your dreams, or you give up. Like, that's all that can happen, is you keep going and you actually achieve this, or you give up. So there are only two types of pain that comes with this. So to win and live the life of your dreams, it's the pain of discipline, all right? And the other pain is the pain of regret, and that goes with giving up. So these two are perfectly, aligned. It's like discipline and living the life of your dreams, or regret and giving up. So you tell me which one stings more. You know exactly how regret feels. It's like you do something and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I just do that? That feeling is like guilt and shame. It's terrible. So, but the pain of discipline, it's like hard at the start, but like, once it's over, you feel so proud. You're like, yes, like I did that. It's like going to the gym. It's like, it's painful now. You don't really want to do it. It's cold. You have to put on your shoes, go to the car, like drive there. But once you're actually there, it's pretty fun, and just pushing through that. And then once you're done, like no one ever regretted going to the gym. Never. So maybe if they missed like an important meeting, maybe, but like no one really regretted going to the gym and actually pushing through discipline. Like no one. But regret, I can tell you, like that's terrible. So you tell me which one stings more. Yeah, that's essentially that. Those are the only two things that can happen. Discipline, It's like, it's as simple as that, but it's not easy. That's the thing. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And then you wouldn't want to do it because everyone has it, and therefore it's not valuable, and therefore you don't want it. So be grateful that it's hard, because if it wasn't hard, you wouldn't even want it in the first place. That's why you want a good physique. That's why you want a nice car, because it's hard to, it's actually hard to get. So, you know that other people also have to go through that struggle to actually acquire that. So you need to be grateful for that, right? The obstacle is the way. So, yeah, do it for your future self. You might not, want to do it for yourself right now, but like, because you self-sabotage, and like you build up this momentum, and you're like, and then just crush it all down. But you have to realize that is just your current self trying to survive. But when you do that work, it's like you are like killing down your current self. You're becoming someone new. But if it's like you're going too deep into the unknown, your current self just pulls you back and self-sabotages you. So you just have to push through that. So don't do it for your current self. Do it for your future self. Can guarantee you'll be extremely proud. So yeah, once again, if you need some help with this, like I've got literally a free course on this. Like just go on link in bio. It's not out yet, so it's launching it soon, within the next couple of months. So I've got what I actually need to mention is that I'm adding 15 members, essentially like founding members. I'm accepting only 15 people. Already there's 7 spots left. 8 people already took that. My calendar is fully booked for 2 weeks, literally until not next week, the next week Monday. It's fully booked. I got like 60 calls lined up, and there's 7 spots left. So obviously, I'm still saying this. So, you can't book a call for it. But if you really want to join and you're really eager, just DM me the word Athens, so ATHENS, right, on Instagram, and I can secure a spot. And okay, it is for the founding members. It is paid. It's a one-time fee, right? And then you get lifetime access. But when we do launch the course or the community or the program, whatever you want to call it, in the future, it's going to be a subscription, monthly basis. But for the founding members, it's just a one-time fee, a discounted price, so you have lifetime access. So if you want to join, you're eager to join, join a community of members, like-minded entrepreneurs on the same mission, ready to conquer life in all areas, in the wealth aspect, making as much money as possible, becoming as rich and jacked as possible, just living the best life possible, being surrounded by that, and also having like amazing material that you can learn from, which I also highly suggest, because that's how I was able to, achieve success so quickly, is by buying other people's mistakes and buying other people's time, so that I can just shorten the time that it needs for me to actually achieve those same results. So, and that's absolutely free. So yeah, I'm launching that in the next couple of months. So yeah, if you are eager to join, just DM me the word Athens, and I'll see what I can do. But other than that, hopefully you got some value from this. Let's just quickly go over it again. So the law of cause and effect, if you know what actions you need to take, if you work smart, you work hard as well, like success is literally inevitable. Why it's just simple math, just breaking it down. Your goal should be to send 127 emails a day. Like that's your goal. It's not $10,000 a month, all right? And why it's so hard at the start, like the analogy I used with a cube, and then over time it becomes a sphere, because it's just like momentum building up. And why not so confident? Because you either have your offer, you have you, or your testimonials. But at the start, you kind of only have you, and you don't even have your current self. You have your future self. So you have faith that your future self will pull it off. That's why it's so difficult as well. And the only 2 things that can happen is you pull it off, or you give up before you pull it off. So yeah, it's pretty simple, but not easy. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed this one, and then subscribe and like and do all this cool stuff. Comment, whatever you want to do, and then yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.